Greetings, everyone. Welcome and big hugs to you. I'm Mahulili, and I'm so happy to be part of this event streaming for Los Angeles. I'm coming to you from my home in Oklahoma City to your home. You know, one of the things that we say about ourselves here in Oklahoma City is that one of the blessings of living here is that it's in the middle of it all. When I first visited Oklahoma City and heard this, I was very surprised to look at a map of the United States and see that, in fact, it's right in the center of things. And there are actually, there's an energetic profundity to this because there are many esoteric opportunities within it if you know how to work with earth energies and to broadcast energy. The great winds all meet here and go forth from here, for instance, and other things in this central location. And so I'm very happy to be broadcasting from the center of things here in Oklahoma City to your home as we're streaming heart to heart and home to home like this. Mahulili is an unusual name, and people often ask me what it means. It came to me in a dream. It was given in a very specific way as part of a longer name. And as such an unusual name, the whole name, Mahulili being the center part of it, which is the part that I most often use. Ma, of course, designates an association with the Divine Mother energy. And Hulili, I was delighted to discover later, is a Hawaiian word that means spark. It means bright light. And so the name means bright light or spark of the Divine Mother. And we're all sparks of the Divine Mother, aren't we? And carrying this name is a reminder and a response to me of the frequency that I share in that. But one of the reasons I was so delighted with Hulili and with Mahulili is that when I was a child, there was a beautiful woman who would come into my dreams. She said that she was my star mother and that she was there to comfort me. And she called me her little Lili. And she would sometimes say, my little sparkle, my little Lili. And later I thought this was kind of a way, because the Hawaiian word means twinkle and sparkle. And so it's kind of a way of saying that I was her star child, isn't it? But I love that Hulili has that energy of sparkle. It also means frequency. It means sparkle like the light on the water, and light that has a brilliance to it like the sparkle of a diamond, for instance. And so it's a beautiful and wonderful name that also reminds me of my star mother. And it was fun to share it with you in this way. My friends often call me Malili, M''Li', which is just a contraction of Ma and Hulili. And it's cute. It's kind of dear, isn't it? And you're welcome to call me that too, if you'd like, or Mahulili. Each presenter was told that at the end of the presentations, they could take time to share what their work is, what their offerings are. But at the end of our time together, I hope that we're in a lovely, deep experience of embracing the unknown together. And I wouldn't want to interrupt that by suddenly talking about my website. And I'm sure you wouldn't want me to either. So I'm just going to tell you right now that yes, I have a website, Mahulili. That's Mahulili, Mahulili, Mahulili.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook, newly so. And it's a new website also. On my walkabout, I didn't make things official. I'd like to also let you know that I'm a writer, and I write a weekly blog. It's called Musings for the Spiritually Inclined. And if you're so inclined, you can find that on my website, mahulili.com. The blog again is Musings for the Spiritually Inclined. As we start today, let me tell you what I do in just a phrase, because whether I'm offering sessions or giving an event, being part of an event like this, or doing a workshop, or in my own writings, what I do can be summed up as channeling the rest of me, which is just to say that we're all so much more than is part of our general daily conversations and our general awareness. And by expanding the awareness to this expanded sense of self and carrying the understanding that we are so much more, and letting that come forward as it will in whatever spontaneous and wondrous way it might be, the spirit animal would come to offer healing or a message for someone that I meet or in a session, or that the ancestors might come to bring wisdom in those circumstances, or so many things are part of the rest of me. So many and so much would walk with me and speak through me, and does so. And the same for you. And so I invite you in this moment, in this way of coming together, to open just right now and begin to channel, to allow forward the rest of you. And let's channel the rest of me, the rest of you together, creating such a reunion, such a beautiful magnification and completeness, greater completeness of that which we all are. With the topic of embracing the unknown, I thought I'd mention that, as I said in my intro, I went on a walkabout. And one of the reasons that I did this, forfeiting everything and closing bank accounts and getting rid of my car and credit cards and all of those things, was to become uncomfortable, to have less available to me my usual way of doing things and thinking and making the world work, generally by a degree of my control, and often from my best of intentions, dreams, hopes, and so on. And so I wanted to step aside from what I had done well or poorly, and how I had gotten things to work, so to speak, how I'd been successful. And I felt a longing to move more into a flow with the unknown and to embrace the unknown greater. And of course, the first thing I ran into was a lot of discomfort with the unknown, with not knowing, certainly, discomfort with not knowing. And that will be part of what we're thinking about together here today. But what is the unknown? Let's distinguish it from the unseen. For the unknown might be unseen, but when we refer to the unseen and the unseen worlds, this is usually what has been the realm of shaman and mystics and healers. And since childhood, certainly being these, I've had many experiences of the unseen world, as have you, most of you, if not all of you. But the unknown is not this. The unknown, at its most comprehensive, is the great foment. It's that which is formless, boundless, beyond words. And so it's a little bit cheeky, isn't it, to be having a conversation together and shedding light, if you will, on the unknown when it's beyond language. And yet, when we come together feeling what we know deeper within ourselves, feeling our knowing association with the great unknown, it begins to gather in our awareness, and we begin to feel it together as we are feeling it now, as we are coming together within the unknown. I think for our discussion, I'd like to first mention what I call 3 perspectives or 3 levels of awareness or levels of being. In a way, they're like 3 worlds of our being. And of course, there are infinite worlds and perspectives within the fullness of our being. But to shed light on our topic, let me discuss briefly 3. The first of them is ground zero, you would say. This is the Earth's surface. This is daily life. Here, it's all right in our face. We're in the thick of things. And everything is rather consuming and present and urgent and seemingly solid and calls to us very compellingly, and it's distracting and very physical, because that's the physical world, ground zero, level 1. And at this level of perspective, our association with the unknown is primarily subconscious or unconscious, because we're not often conscious of it. We might, in our church services or such things, have moments or places where we experience this, but in general, we're not very comfortable with the unknown in the physical level. The second level is what I would call the global level. And you can liken it to the first time you get in a small airplane and you go up to 3,000 feet perhaps, and you see the Earth's surface and you see the connections between things and you see farther, and it adds to your view. And while there, you feel a little more than just arm's length at things, from things. In the first level, on the physical level, we're hard pressed even to get arm's length from what's right in front of our face. Perspective is difficult. But in the global level, we get our first lift, and we have our first added perspective, being able to step back a little and think of going in a commercial jet where we're at 35,000 feet, 5 miles in the air. And there we can even get a glimpse of the Earth's horizon. And this is life-changing. We get above the clouds, somewhat above the weather, and it's sunny up there when it might be storming on the surface, because the first level perspective is very, well, there's a lot of weather there, isn't there? And so getting above the weather, or whether we're talking literally or emotionally and so forth, getting above the difficulties, can help us. And we have then at this level more experience of the unknown, more awareness of the unknown. We're more conscious of it, and we begin to become interested in it, and even to pursue our longing to experience it more, perhaps through prayers and meditation and spiritual practices. These are the connections at this level. It's here where we connect with and begin to know about our higher self, which still feels outside of ourself. We may petition our guides and our higher self for help, but our understanding about the unknown is not yet very advanced, and we might raise into that frequency, but not necessarily hold it very long. And this causes us some distress. But as we persist and as we grow, we have more access to level 3, which let's call the cosmic level. And at this level, you can imagine it as when the astronauts first went up into space and saw our Earth relative to the cosmos. It was beautiful and wondrous, and their photos and relating of this experience changed us all, didn't it? In the perspective that it gave us of our place within the cosmos and the universe. And so at this cosmic level, we begin to have this perspective. And we're still in movement between the levels, these 3 levels. The physical level is our ground wire. We're here in a physical body to have a physical life. And yes, we might say, and we might prefer to say, we're spiritual beings having a physical life. But primary in this experience right now is we are physical beings, and we have bodies. And we are here not to leave the physical, but to integrate the other realms into the physical for the expansion and blessing that would be to ourselves and our lives and to our world, to bring it into the physical, not to leave or suppress the physical. And so in this movement from between the levels, with the cosmic level being the beginning of our conversation with our soul, and the global being the beginning of our conversation and awareness of our higher selves, and the ground level being this deep exploration and conversation with the individual point of view. And as we combine and move between these with some facility, we are able more and more to connect and to experience the unknown by degrees. We long for more continuous connection. But the physical life and a period of the exploring and meeting the goals of the physical life does come first, and is many years of our experience. As we move and as the world changes, this changes as well. And now, having come to a place where we're interested in the unknown and where we long to understand it more, to integrate it more into our being, we wonder, of course, how to hold these frequencies of, we call them the upper frequencies, And they are, in fact, the enlighting, which is a better word than enlightenment. The enlighting, which for most people happens and is happening gradually, the light increasing, this enlighting. And there's a movement as we might go back and spend in primary focus for a time on a challenge or a difficulty or opportunity in the physical level. But this weaving, and now we're at a time where light is coming through in new ways to everyone, not just to people who might share our beliefs or enter into the same practices that we do, but to all. And as this light grows in us, we begin to wonder how to use it, how to be with it, how to maintain it, how to keep it. And we have experiences, peak experiences. We might go to a workshop and be together in a profound way and feel such elevation. But then some days or weeks or months later, we wonder what happened to that beautiful elevation that we felt. This is part of this dialogue, isn't it? Of our experiencing and questioning and exploring the unknown. On my walkabout, I mentioned that one of the hardest things about that walkabout was becoming comfortable with not knowing. And not knowing is like a gateway to the unknown, to move deeper and more profoundly in your integration with the unknown. You must not only be very well grounded to the physical, you must also be comfortable with not knowing. And the physical world is a place where we want to know. So, for instance, in the experience that we're having now, there's so much we want to know. Why did this happen? How did it happen? Where did it start? What caused this world situation to occur? Whose fault is it? Are the conspiracy theories right? These are all things we want to know. Oh, and as most of all, when will it end? We want to know, when will it end? But in all of this urgency to know, we miss what can be felt and understood. At the physical level of perspective, the need to know is somewhat compulsive, isn't it? And so we Google all around and we read and we watch everything until we wear ourselves out. And we wonder and we ask and we keep this feeling going. And we look outward for answers. Oh, we want answers. So, and the answers, we get an answer here and there, and it comforts us or feels like it has wisdom. But bringing the unknown into this and being able to relax somewhat about what we don't know and aren't comfortable with, about how we're going to be okay and how we'll make our rent. These are all the things of this perspective. And they must be met. We have to pay our rent. But bringing the unknown perspective, bringing the cosmic, touching the unknowable, doesn't make the unknown a greater confusion. There are answers in it. Sometimes the answers are feelings of assurance, sometimes they're very interesting. When I asked myself in the beginning how long, looking in a shamanic way at the timeline, I was given a certain view, a somewhat limited answer. And then later I asked again, what does the timeline look like now? Because as a mystic and a shaman, I often deal with the probabilities, and I like to add to whatever is with wisdom to lend energetically to a situation for its greatest fulfillment. And so I was wondering this and looked again at the timeline, and I was told this: it's going so well. It's going so well. And what I understood was a rare opportunity has occurred. This wasn't done to us, so this would happen. But there's opportunity in it. And support is being given that this opportunity continue in the least harmful way for the maximum benefit. And so our air is cleaner, our lives are more spare, and these great energies from the center of the cosmos pouring upon us as they have been like never before are reaching a worldwide humanity, holding vigil together, unheard of, unimagined, unplanned, if you will, but part of a plan for the goodness in it, not done to because of, but an opportunity taken that spontaneously occurred out of perhaps not even the best of what we are as humanity. It is going well. This is the answer when I asked again about the timeline. It's going so well. And I could feel this wellness in me and around me. And perhaps at this moment, you can also. These are the kinds of answers. And in this answer are so many things that came with it. They're like, I call them big thought bubbles. There's so much there, and more will come to me as I contemplate and as I access, as I in a way leave it be to come to me. But the frequency of these answers within the unknown is always much greater and fuller and more wondrous than can be put into words, because words is the first decreasing of the frequency. You have to make a specific focus to something very full and beautiful and comprehensive, and you have to pull one little piece out of that and say something or use that. But it's part of a great fullness. And as we become comfortable with this fullness, which is in many ways to our thinking non-specific, but so much more comprehensive. But it takes becoming comfortable with, and that means becoming okay with not knowing. And learning it wasn't all of our knowing that kept us safe in the first place, was it? That's not where our safety lies, is knowing and then doing something about it and controlling things. We know this, and yet it's not at all easy because we live in a physical life. to learn to relax the physical perspective while living within it and utilizing it and being grounded within it, this beautiful grounding into our bodies. We are meant, especially this time, to bring these energies into the container, the physical container. And this takes great love and attention and care to the physical. And so all of us are being called to self-care. Have you noticed this for yourself, for others? And have this opportunity, a leisure in which to change our attention around the physical, to love our bodies and our physical lives, and to leave our longing for all the problems to be ended and to reach some time when we're above it all. That's not the point, to be above it all. As we add perspective of the three levels, we do rise above, but problems don't go away. Challenges are still there, but I can say they feel very different. They feel much easier, more fluid, and they can still be hard, but the suffering and the fear and the worry are not the same. And we're so much more aware of the assistance that we have and of the fullness that we bring to it and of the beauty that we are. And our gratitude is more expansive, even for what is difficult or challenging. And so we have prayers for all those affected with such difficulty in these times, because compassion is what is called for, not some lofty, oh, well, they agreed to this. Compassion is first because we are physical. Compassion is first, the first perspective. Compassion and action are the two things called for within the physical. There's a wonderful opportunity in understanding our movement between these three levels and having the individual, you're so important, I'm so important to the picture, I'm the gal on the ground, the man on the ground, literally in the team. And my perspective is vital and needed at all times. And the higher self, that is my relationship with that which is higher in me at this global level of the higher self. And my soul, through which the higher self and the soul is my connection to the fullness of the great unknown. And being physical, I can work with these three perspectives. If you think of them as 3 points on a triangle, and you have the physical and the individual you and your fine mind and intellect, and you have the perspective and the expanded wisdom of your higher self, and you have the connection and the gateway of your soul and its marvelous expansion, which lifts into a pyramid, the top of which is the fullness of being. And let me give you a wonderful, inspiring example of how these can actually work together in the physical, because I can't say enough that the point isn't to just spend time in the higher levels. The higher levels can be so infinite as to be beyond any perspective at all, but we're in bodies. And we may have experiences and bring that in, but we stay physical, and we have our dreams and our goals and our daily lives. And we are integrating the wonder of the higher levels into our physical being. And we do physical things. It expands us in unusual ways. I have a friend who made a fortune in the .com era and then retired rather early to follow a passion, having in a large and global work life met fascinating people who could do unusual things, and having heard of many people who seemed to have almost unbelievable capabilities, what my friend wanted to do was to go visit them and have conversations with these people. And I wish he had taped them or written them all down, but he has wonderful stories of this, and one that I'd like to share with you that really illustrates working with the three that we've just discussed in a profound way. He heard of a man in Arizona who was often part of government and NASA experiments in the paranormal. And he heard that there was a certain type of experiment that the man had been involved with yearly for several years. And so he went to this man and had a discussion about it. And of course, he wanted to know how it was done. Now, what was done was the group conducting the study in the paranormal would set the study up in this way. An object was chosen, and a city for it to be placed in was chosen, and a place within that city. And this man in Arizona was asked to tell what the object was, what the city was, and where it was within the city. And he was given a certain period of time in which to do that. And he had an extremely high, unbelievably high rate of success with this. And my friend wanted to know how he did that. And I suppose that's what I'd want to know, what you'd want to know, to discover maybe something to benefit what we might do. And so he said to this man, so how does it work? Do you use meditation? Do you get into meditation? And if you do, how long does it take you? And then do you see images or words? How does it happen? How do you know? And or do you have guides that tell you? And do you have to prepare yourself in a certain way, and so on? And the man said, oh, it's not any of these things. No, that's not how it works for me. He said, I simply, after each year is completed, after each year's study is completed, I simply begin deciding what the object will be for the next year, and where the city will be, and where it will be placed. He decided. The committee was completely unaware of this. He decided what the object would be, what the city would be, and where it would be placed within the city. And months later, the committee happened to choose that object, that city, and that place. This is profound. Breathe it in. He decided There are other ways this could have been done. But what he did shows us something important and extraordinary for right now and for our times and for our lives. We know this capability is within us. We have a level of belief. We've heard of it. We're fond of saying it. Let us be in the practice of it, in this moment, in this challenge, deciding what our world will be. By being comfortable with the unknown, envisioning and dreaming the world as it is becoming. In our last moments together, I'm told just now that we're going to have a little message from those who are with us and an experience of the fullness of ourselves and a greater sense of our being. And so if you would sit comfortably and relax and close your eyes. Beloved ones who are gathered in this wondrous way, from the heart of love we greet you. And we bring your awareness to us as we walk among you in this moment, as we are around you in your homes. And you may feel us embracing you and feel our hands upon you. You will feel this. Feel what is here for you, of you, with you. Feel what walks with you as you embrace the fullness, the expandedness of that which you are. We place our hands upon you in healing. Open to this, for healing is here. Joy is here. Breathe it in. It is a great celebration in this moment. So much, so many gathered here with you, your loved ones throughout time, ancestors, the great masters and healers, the wondrous energies of the creation of this physical world. Feel the comprehensiveness of your being as it gathers around you. And breathe it in. And pause in this moment. And we would ask at this time that our beloved friend sing. They're asking me to sing for you a song of ancient times, a song in an earliest of language that is a love song to this fullness as it is given in you. It is like your love song to the divine within you. And it is like the divine singing love to you. And as she does so, breathe in the healing and the love. Feel the communion and the connection and our embrace from the heart of love. For we love you so. And so we end our time together. What a gift it has been, and an honor for me to be in your homes. This is truly so, to share your lives in this way, and I thank you for this.